Here we go. Wow. Awesome to announce the Gym Guys podcast. You could find it on Instagram as well as YouTube. And I am honored, not just saying it because I'm on screen with these gentlemen, but honored to have been introduced to them in the later part of my life, and super excited about the opportunity that we have to just kind of share the way we live and the way we experience with everybody. Just a couple of good, honest guys working hard and trying to live the dream, training hard, trying to eat right, trying to live right, do the right thing. And I'm honored to present the first episode of Gym Guys. And I'd like to introduce everybody here. I'll start with you all, and then I'll end it with introducing myself. But we have Eric Schwartz. Many have known him as Natural Guy back in the day, 1.0, 2.0, the Eric Schwartz. He'll go through all his experience and history. And we also have Jason Budsock, VP of sales and product development for Universal Animal. One of the greatest people you can know, and you'd want to buy the product just because you know him. Yeah, there we go. I'll tell you what, you want to whip out old stuff? I have this.
Oh, wow. That's a throwback.
All of us have been following the sports, bodybuilding, powerlifting, the lifestyle, health and fitness, supplementation. And I'll stop talking. I'll let everyone else get into their how it started and their why, and then I'll jump in.
Yeah, I'll get into it. Yeah, I'll get into it real quick. I've known these guys for a long time. Eric, actually, the longest, and Kris, I would say for 4 or 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been in the industry, I hate to say it, but since the 90s. When I was in college, I was working at the vitamin shop. I transitioned to animal back in 2003 after I got out of college. And I've had a passion for supplements, lifting, the lifestyle, bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, everything that, we're going to talk about here. I've had a passion since the early days, and I'm just thankful to be with these 3 fine gentlemen talking about it. So I'll kick it over to Schwartz now.
Yeah, this is cool. I mean, this is something we've been talking about for months, doing our own podcast. And it's, if you guys listening, we just want to kind of like share our experiences, talk about experience in the past, current events, all that stuff, in hopes that maybe some of our tidbits can help you guys out. And that's really it. If we can make the world a better place, be positive. I think we all have that common goal together. I think that's why the 3 of us bond really well. Just to give you my quick history, I got into lifting as a teenager because I was super skinny. I was that skinny kid. I had braces, glasses, insecure, and just didn't want to be skinny anymore. So started lifting. I competed in bodybuilding back in the day, many, many years ago. So I did that for a few years. Always been a bodybuilding fan and continued to be a fan, even though I didn't compete anymore. And then, so always trained, never stopped training or anything. Loved the lifestyle. And then I was just about to hit 40, needed a new challenge, and I got into powerlifting. Henri Skiba is the one who really gave me kind of like the knowledge and the confidence to do my first powerlifting meet, and got bit by the bug there and loved it. I have, I'm not the world's best powerlifter. I'm not the world's best bodybuilder, but I have 2 claims to fame. 1991, I won best poser twice in two competitions.
That's awesome.
And in powerlifting, my claim to fame is that I have a higher total than Jason.
That's gonna end this year.
And it's only by 10 pounds too. I mean, Jay, you got to take it, man.
Next year, it's done.
I had to shoot the first shot. Anyway, some of you guys know who have followed us. Me and Jay, we do a lot of smack talk, but it's all in good fun. We push each other. And like Jay alluded to earlier, I worked with Jason for 11 years at Universal Animal, and it's probably the best times of my life. We can get into that in later on podcasts. Some really awesome experiences. I did get the experience of working for 2 other sports nutrition companies, and I'm currently helping out on a part-time basis with Apollo Nutrition. So I've got experience with 4 different brands behind the scenes. So hopefully we can impart some of that experience and wisdom that we have on you guys and help you guys out. And then started my own brand in 2021, Paw Power Nutrition. It's a dog brand, but it is supplements. So thank you, Jason. Yeah, and then we're here, and we're here to talk all things about fitness, life, and our experiences.
I wanted an old school stringer top where it says Poor Power, so I'll wait for that one.
Crop top. Still sipping from my animal mug, which I drink through from every single day.
Yeah, man.
What are you sipping on, Jason?
I'm sipping on, I just finished training. Figured I'd get in a nice, hate to say it, but cardio. I've been doing cardio consistently and a little bit of weights. I just did some arms today.
Nice, man.
Keeping it simple.
But what are you sipping on right now?
Oh, I'm juiced aminos to help with the post-workout recovery.
And what did you take pre-workout?
Pre-workout, I actually did good old Fury. So simple. You know, I did it for caffeine, beta alanine, kind of 1-2 combo with gives me that good focus.
Cool. So maybe we should all talk about like what we're currently training for, if anything specific, or like how your training's evolved. Like what are you training for now, Jay? I heard you said it yesterday on social media that
that was a big
come
one,
back
bud.
to the platform. So that was
Wow.
a big announcement.
That's out there. I didn't know. I thought it was going to be January 1st. They got out there fast.
So like, did you pick a meet? Do you have a date or what?
Right now, it would be the end of next year because I want to give myself time to continue to do my cardio. I want to prioritize health. So that's why I've been on my kick of 10,000 steps a day. That's kind of like been consistent with that for 6 months. I wanted to give myself a challenge, keep consistent, stick with it. And now it's going to be getting back to lifting heavy again after the new year. I took some time now just to, take off, train light, let the aches and pains go away, and then put myself through the rigors next year.
Kris, we know you're doing something interesting, so why don't you tell the audience?
Yes, I want to hear this.
Yeah, I'm trying, man. So definitely, we can get into the background later, but over 50 now. Always feel like I'm making a gain here and there, but a couple steps forward, a few steps back. I have to do a lot of things socially for work with, dinners and drinks. And it just gets in the way, of progress. It's a necessity sometimes for business, but long story short, I said, kind of like enough is enough. Whatever I'm doing, it's not working. I got to change. And I've been talking to you guys about it for a while. And then Eric and I had a nice lunch together one day, and we were just talking about it. And we're in the parking lot just, saying, hey, have a great day, goodbye, and all that. And he's like, you should just do it. He's like, just do it. He's like, take advantage of it. And what is that it? Obviously, you've grown to know Evan Centopani very well through the association with Universal and Animal. Even if you haven't gotten to meet him or got to know him or meet him in person, I mean, obviously you watch his content and it's just second to none, salt of the earth, very grounded, very sane, good, solid advice. And probably one of the best things that made me decide to work with Evan for just overall coaching and training and diet was I just like the person. I feel better following someone that is well-rounded, not only in bodybuilding, but in life and in all the things that he does. I think anybody that knows him knows this. They don't need to hear my testimony, but that's really what led me to that. And of course, my belief and trust in you guys saying, hey, if I was to use this guy or maybe, seek the advice of this person or that person, and also Evan was part of the mix, it was like, oh, you got to just go with Evan. So I decided just to try and get, in great shape again. Back in the day when I used to compete, I'm not saying I'm going to compete, but get in shape, get enough gains again to be in a position where hopefully I could be featured at Animal's Gym at their headquarters and do either a segment of over 50, what the brand means to me, what the lifestyle means to me, what the people mean to me, and just good old hard work and kind of, breaking it back down to basics. So that's been my inspiration. I started that, I guess at this point, December 2nd. I'm about 3 weeks in, made some progress. Just got an email minutes before we started this from Evan Progress looking good. Going to tweak some things a little bit more. Maybe incorporate a few fats into the diet. Obviously, I enjoyed 2 days of cheat meals with you guys and Christmas Eve. But the feeds were good. The refeeds were good. I definitely felt like I got even leaner from it. I don't want to say that that's what I'm going to do from now on, of course, but so that's my thing for 2023. Just getting in shape, being in good enough shape to do a photo or video shoot with the team and Animal, and that's an extra inspiration for me.
That's an incredible opportunity, and Evan's one of the few guys that I would like trust and put my guidance, take guidance from. So that's an incredible opportunity. And I think, we didn't mention at the beginning, but we are planning on having a lot of guests on. We know a lot of people in the industry. We will have Evan on one day, and
no, that's fantastic.
Maybe we'll grill you while Evan's on camera here and make sure that,
see
you're following the program.
See how he's really doing.
I better have my chicken breast. Well, I send you guys all my meals, so you know what's going on.
It's true. We have a text chain, and
we live
I bore everybody with my meals, but they're solid, and I'm very thankful. Very, very thankful.
Yeah, I love the text chain because I have to say one of the harder points for me is the diet. I love training. Been training 20 plus years, but for me, the struggle is a little bit with the diet. So seeing Kris commit to it was really inspiring. So one of the goals to put on my checklist is to step it up with the diet.
Yeah, I think that's true with most people. I mean,
yeah,
the nutrition being as consistent as you could be is one of the harder things. There's a lot of temptations in life, and it's a tough thing to stick to.
It's a tough one. Yeah.
I'll say, one thing, when you start making your meals again, and even though I made meals for myself, I wouldn't necessarily bring them all with me or bring some of them with me. Like, all right, I got one good meal. I'll eat this meal out. I'll have my shake. I cheated then, but I'll make up for it with cardio, right? And you're just doing this all the time. And to bring your meals with you is just always a game changer. Everyone knows that who's watching it and following the lifestyle. But it just, once you start doing it, like, you know what? I don't want to eat that garbage that's out there. I don't want to depend on someone using rapeseed oil, or, I don't want to know what was maybe handled hygienically or not hygienically. Everything's in my control. I actually just got for Christmas, not an official shout out, but we could say shout out to a Wolfpack. I'm like, when I travel or I go to work, I want to have something besides me bringing my work suitcase, besides me bringing a knapsack or a tote, cooler tote with food. I'll just have it all in one spot. And at least for that day, you could be set, pretty good. So I want to encourage anyone to even just start to try it, even if you stumble, start to try and bring your meals as many places as you can. It's just a great way to be like, wow, okay, I can do this. I can do it a little bit better every day.
It's all about consistency, right? And that carries over, as we get older and we learn through these experiences. Being consistent is the most important thing, whether that be training, nutrition, saving, investing, working, day to day, showing up. Those little things all add up over time. Instead of trying to hit that short-term home run or that one big swing, you do those little things every day. They add up over time, and it's just amazing.
Definitely. And you guys are more of the powerlifting. I'm definitely more on the bodybuilding, especially at my age. I could seem to handle that training better. Evan's got me doing, different types of deadlifts and a lot more just basic fundamental exercises. And I'm definitely a machine junkie. I've become a machine junkie over my time. So, while I do feel I make good gains from it or I stay healthy or not injured, we've been changing things up a little bit. So it's been a good welcomed impact to the nervous system. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's a good balance. I would say that over the years, my training has been compound lifts, but also mixed in with machines. So it's a little bit of compound hypertrophy. I believe in too. I know Eric will tell you the kids nowadays on TikTok, they love pure hypertrophy movements, and it's become it's gone too far, I think. But to me, there's a balance between hypertrophy and still fitting in your compound lifts so that you could put on size correctly.
TikTok fitness and nutrition is a wild, wild place, man. We can go through some more specifics. Maybe you want to do a whole episode on it, but there's a very popular science-based trainer on there who made a post yesterday, and his post was that if you're barbell benching, squatting, or deadlifting, you're limiting yourself. And I think his post was really meant to be controversial, to get views, to get people to stitch it.
Yes.
I think that's really what it was about. But there's a bunch of kids on there that think you don't need to do that stuff, and you don't need to. But I think you're limiting yourself if you don't do those exercises. There's so much more benefit too, and everybody, they get focused on, hypertrophy and isolation and mechanical tension. There's so many other benefits to doing the basic exercises. Strength, core strength, using other muscles that you don't use when you isolate something. There's studies that show that, heavy squats and deadlifts can increase your testosterone. How much it increases it and whether that means anything in the real world, I don't think we know. The science isn't super clear, but there's just benefits, man. Just the mental benefits. Like, again, I'm not the world's strongest powerlifter, but Jay, you and I have squatted over 500 pounds, right?
Yeah.
God bless you guys.
That mental strength that that you put that on your back, you went in a hole and you lifted it up, yourself. It gives you mental strength. Like when you're in a tough, stressful situation, you're like, shit, man, I squatted over 500. This is, nothing.
This is nothing. Yep.
I don't know. I think a lot of those, I don't want to be that like, hey, get off my lawn, the old guy. I want to be open-minded, but I think a lot of those kids do a lot of mental gymnastics to not do some of the hard stuff.
Yeah, to avoid the hard
just
stuff.
My opinion.
If you could pick one exercise that you would say is like the flag of that in the gym, what would you say it is? I know what it is for me, that I see that I'm just like, why are you doing that when you're not even doing this? Or,
Good. Which one are you talking?
Single cable lat, or rows, right? And it's like, I get it. And maybe you are getting a good effect out of that. Everyone's genetics are different. One day we'll talk more about pros and how people achieve just great heights by doing just, non-traditional exercises. But, I look at that, I'm like, why don't you do, some barbell rows, or why don't you do at least full seated cable rows, or, Well,
it's funny. Those kids on TikTok will say, well, I'm trying to bias. They don't say isolate, but they say they're trying to bias their iliac lat, right? They don't even have lats to begin with yet. And I'm not knocking anybody, but it's like, you build a house, right? You got to build a foundation on a house. Trying to isolate or bias your iliac lat is like trying to put a fancy shingle on a house before you build the foundation.
Build your muscle. Build
and
some muscle.
How do you even know
base.
that you need more work on your iliac lat until, like, if you're a pro bodybuilder, right? Or an advanced bodybuilder, and you're on a stage and the judge says to you, your iliac lats are weak. Okay, go isolate them, right? You're not even at that point yet.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Taken to the extreme. That's what we have to live through.
And it's a lot of extreme.
Back,
you're going to have to start walking around with copies of the Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia and handing it out.
The nutrition stuff on TikTok is very extreme. A lot of people trying to scare you with stuff. But almost all of them, I'd say 100% of them, first thing you do is go right to their bio. They're selling something. So they're trying to scare you about something because they're trying to sell you a solution.
Yeah. And, I think the other side of that is, we don't want anyone to think, of course, that we're hating here. The best thing about this is it's just real. It's natural, giving you our opinion, giving you our experiences. I'll take it to the other side, though, and give the youngins a lot of credit with how much squatting they're doing. How much deadlifting I'm seeing, especially the ladies, right? It's been very impressive to see people go back to some core exercises and not be afraid of muscle and shape. So I always think there's always some good things that come out of some of the different trends. For me, people could make fun of us back in the day because all we cared about was benching 315. Every day was bench day, and it was all about, having three wheels aside. And, I gave up all on that, especially after I watched Jimmy Pelletier come in the gym one day. Like, well, I'm never going to be that. So let's just go back to the drawing board.
Yeah, I would say with Instagram, TikTok, the biggest thing I notice is a lot of people say bodybuilding is dead, but to me, with the reach of these social media channels, it's bigger than ever. Maybe competitive bodybuilding at the highest level, the biggest guys, that's sort of dying a little bit, but or maybe it's converted. And you guys can
Yeah.
speak to this better than me, but it's like classic physique, the 212 guys. To me, it's bigger than ever, though, and that's one thing that I think a lot of people misunderstand. But if you go on social media, everywhere, I love it.
And right, there's definitely more people into fitness nowadays than ever.
Yep.
Less hardcore bodybuilding, more
Less
people into
hardcore.
fitness. Chris Bumstead is he's transcended this sport. Like I have a young nephew, he lifts casually, he does not follow bodybuilding, he cannot name Mr. Olympia, but he knows I was in the industry, and he's like, do you know Daddy Bumstead? And I'm like, how do you know Daddy Bumstead? He's like, everybody does. And he looks great. Kids want to look like that. They may not want to compete. And we found that out, right, Jay, we found that out through customers. Like the majority of the animal customers, and animal marketed directly to hardcore bodybuilding, but 90% of the customers never competed or never wanted to compete. They wanted to look better, they wanted to be stronger.
Exactly.
But they really were never going to compete. So they aspired to look like those people, but they weren't actually going to ever step on stage. So there's a tremendous amount of people like that, and I think it's great. I mean, it's good for health and fitness and all that stuff.
It's the lifestyle. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head too, Eric. What else does it prepare you for you in life? For me, my mom passed away when I was 13, a long, long time ago, and I needed to have something solo, isolating that I could focus on. And believe it or not, I started with bowling, because you're able to go to a bowling alley and bowl, 10 frames as many times as you want and practice. People see people bowl by themselves. It does happen. And, one day I just got bit by the bug, and, watching Rocky movies and buying the Arnold Schwarzenegger encyclopedia, and then moving on and up from there, Bob Harris's Beyond Built book, Dr. Ellington Darden's big book, right? And just getting into it and be like, wow, I can kind of go somewhere by myself, improve myself, challenge myself. And just, especially with my mom passing away from cancer, it's like, all right, well, what am I going to do to prepare myself for, maybe some genetic disposition, or just fighting that. And that's where that whole lifestyle, and especially supplementation, natural food, multivitamin, multimineral supplementation kind of really came into my life. So everyone finds it a different way. Everyone, gets bit by the bug a different way.
Man, similar experience with me and how my view on training and everything has evolved. My dad passed away in 2020, and he had a very poor quality of life at the end. He had Parkinson's and dementia, and it really kind of like seeing him have that bad quality of life really kind of rocked me and made me think about training and everything differently. And now it's more to me about quality of life, longevity. I still want to be big and strong, but that's actually taken a little bit of a backseat to my health. I research stuff on cognitive health and how diet affects that, and different supplements and stuff like that. Training's the best thing you could do. Training consistently, not just weight training, but walking is one of the best things you could do for cognitive health, and certainly your nutrition. We can't control everything. Your genetics play a huge, probably the biggest role, right? Your genetics play a huge role. But the fact is that we can control getting good quality sleep, nutrition, training. It's something that is tremendous, like weighs on me kind of heavily. And that's my training has evolved based on that stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Similar to you guys, I've taken more of a look at overall health. Like I talked before about the walking. Walking, I feel like, is fundamentally like one of the easiest things you can do, and also one of the most effective just to extend your quality of life. So before, like, we were so hardcore with powerlifting, lifting heavy. While that's still there, to me, it's all about health first. And then I will get back to powerlifting, but I have to make sure that I have established those, the walking habit. Like I have to keep that up even if I'm powerlifting. The diet, like Kris, like I love the pictures that you're sending in our chats. It's like, you know what, let's take care of that. So I got that checked off, starting, cleaned it up. And then powerlifting will make its way back in, because I do have to beat Eric's total. I cannot have that on the record, but overall general health is the key. It's about longevity and, better lifestyle.
Yeah. And as we've unfortunately seen the last few years, there's been a lot of bodybuilders who have passed away.
Yeah.
So it makes you really think about, the health stuff.
Way too many for just no reason at all. It's tough, very, very tough. Speaking of, what did you guys all think of any happenings in Vegas with the Olympia? What was your thoughts?
I thought it was really cool. A couple of things. We happen to know some of those people personally, right? We know Sean Clarita really well.
Oh, God, that guy's...
I don't know, 10 or 11 years. I don't know how long.
Such a good guy, yeah.
And we will have him on this show at some point, too.
I weigh more than Sean Clarita. I look 1% of him.
He's just so amazing, man. I used to go...
It's incredible. It's incredible.
I remember we were working for Universal. We were sponsoring him. He was competing in a WMBF natural show. He's 132 pounds. I went to go. We sponsored the show. I went to see him at the show. And like just to see him over the years progress. And, you know, this was not overnight. This guy was the most consistent. Every time I saw him, this Tupperware, his training, he did not grow. You look at his pictures and they look amazing, the before and afters, but he chipped away at it every year. Like just got better and better. So that was amazing to see. I'm super happy for him. For getting his title back. We know Derek Lunsford very well. We sponsored him for a number of years with Animal. I traveled with him. We went to South Africa together, Florida, a bunch of places. So I'm very happy for him. And that was wild, man. Two of the former 212 guys dominated the Open Olympia. And the one thing I was happy about, I think the judges got it right. Every year there's usually like some controversy, but I think they kind of got it right. I mean, you could argue I would have had Derek first. I think I like his waist is a little smaller. I like his shape better, but you really could have went either way. But I think they did a really good job, the judges.
Yeah, I agree. Biggest challenge out there right now seems to be guys suffering from atrophy, from nerve damage. I watched a lot more reviews the last couple of nights. Again, Ian Valliere, just insanely incredible bodybuilder, right? And they're going to pick apart anything that he's got or not got. And, there were pictures, whether they were modified or not, I don't know. But, definitely was noticeable atrophy in the lower back area. Rami's doesn't exist anymore, even though, Rami's forearm's better than my entire physique. But, it's, that's how I always look at that. People can pick apart and make fun of it. It's like, yeah, you stand on the stage next to him or you go to the gym with him, see how you look, I mean, there's always a kind of come back to earth, moment for sure. But yeah, definitely I would say along with you guys, the wave of the 212 is quite incredible. It'd be like Franco Colombo would be pretty proud right now, I think, looking down and saying, wow, look what's going on here. Quality over quantity. It's just, especially from the shorter bodybuilders, like myself, I always grew up loving, Franco's, Lee Priest, Terry Pastel, Lee Labrada, just, some amazing competitors that don't have to be 6 feet tall, that just make the most out of their, physique. Danny Padilla, right? You call him one of the original giant killers. But Clarita at 178, I mean, well below the 212 threshold, doing what he's doing, winning an open show this year as well. I mean, this guy's defying gravity. I hope they do a special on him the same way Jay gets talked about coming back to win, an Olympia after losing it. I hope they do the same kind of documentary with him. And the last thing I'll say, because Jay, I want you to talk about it more as well, is what a great guy Clarita is. And you guys know him way more than I do, but I remember going to Signature Fitness not too long ago, and I came with my daughter. It was just a whole big event. Steph and I think Rudy were there. And he says hello. Hey, yeah, I remember you from another event, at Bev's or whatnot. He's like, would you guys like a tour of the gym? And he gave me and my daughter a personal tour of the gym, explained how he tries to procure different pieces of equipment from around the world that, gyms that he visits. And I was just like, man, this guy's like the 212 Olympian. He's the one like acting like he's working in the gym, giving me a tour with me and my daughter. and really, I need to share that because I was just really, really humbled. And it's always been kind of the bond, if you will, when we DM each other or anything. We always remember that, that experience with one another. So kudos to Sean for just, being a gentleman on and off the stage or in and out of the gym.
Yeah, I always say he's one of the nicest. But I don't know if that's me.
Your stomach? Are you hungry?
Yeah, might be my stomach. I'm getting hungry.
You got 3.5 minutes, Jay. Close it out.
Close it out. Oh man,
give us your thoughts. I know you saying you like the classic guys. Give us your thoughts.
I love the aesthetic physiques, and no offense to any of the massive bodybuilders. Everyone has their own, build and their genetics. But for me, I've always been a fan of the 70s physiques. And I feel like classic bodybuilding is physique is going that way. And that's what I look forward to. I love Bumstead. I know, Kris, you've mentioned, who's the gentleman from overseas? I can't think of his name, but I started
Wesley
Visser. Yeah, so
yeah.
didn't finish in the top 5, but you know what? These guys just have incredible physiques that throws back to the era of the 70s. And to me, that's what I didn't grow up in the 70s, but to me, those physiques are what I always aspired to be. So I like that direction that the sport is going towards. I feel like classic physique is going to be the wave of the future.
Yeah, there's word from Arnold that he wants to make it the main event, right?
Wow. Yeah, you sent us that article, Kris. And yeah, I'm curious to see if it goes that way. If eventually the open bodybuilding kind of moves down a little bit and classic takes over. We'll see how it plays.
I bet if you took a poll and asked people if they wanted to look like Chris Bumstead or Big Ramy, I bet 90% of the people would want to look like Bumstead.
Totally.
Yeah, he's a rock star, no doubt about it. And I got a chance to meet him. I think we all have, but the one time I did, I just shook his hand. I said, kind of thank you for bringing back, bodybuilding to the youth. And I know some people might laugh or comment on that, but we got to admit, kids are posing in the mirrors and doing their thing more from Bumstead than, no offense to Ramy, because Ramy just looks so unachievable. And not that Bumstead looks achievable by any stretch either. The guy's amazing, but it's just something I guess maybe you can relate to more, so definitely agree with that.
Cool. Well, we are running out of time. I think this
is a great start, guys. Legendary start with both of you. Like I said, if you all don't follow these guys on Instagram, definitely check them out. Always tons of good advice, just tons of feel good stuff, tons of just, sound good things. And the world needs more of that. And I like to always associate myself with people like that. I think, what do they say? What's the old saying? You are the company that you keep, right? And, it's kudos to you guys. And we'll get into that in another episode with how we all met each other, how the universe kind of brought us together, and just a great start to what we always want to do is just share good, honest, real information or experiences.
Agreed. Let's make the world a better place.
Yeah, that's man. It. Check it out on Gym Guys Podcast on Instagram or Gym Guys Podcast on YouTube. And Happy New Year to everyone.
That's right.
Happy New Year. We'll see you next time.
See you next year.
Next year. Yeah.
That's it.
Terrible joke. Terrible dad joke.
Stay tuned for more dad jokes with Schwartz.
Will Angry Dad make an appearance at some point?
Ian Haytecki wants to see it. He'll be happy.
Yeah, excited about the guests that we could have for sure.
Cool. All right.
Thank you guys. It's an honor.